A reciclagem e a reutilização de resíduos é um grande desafio tecnológico e sociológico. O desenvolvimento da química pode ter desencadeado alguns problemas ambientais, mas pode ser também a sua solução. Extrair e reciclar metais nobres como o ouro, a platina e o cobalto de lixo eletrónico, como computadores e telemóveis, é um exemplo. Nicolas Schaeffer é investigador do CICECO-Instituto de Materiais de Aveiro. Conquistou um dos prémios mais conceituados no mundo da investigação, o European Research Council, um valor de 1,49 milhões de euros. O plano é ficar em Portugal, depois de deixar a França, o seu país natal, e a Inglaterra, onde fez o seu doutoramento. ScienceCast, uma conversa com ciência.
Sejam bem-vindos a mais um ScienceCast. É com muito gosto que vos recebemos mais uma vez. O meu nome é Mónica Ribal e temos connosco Nicolas Schaeffer para conversar sobre ciência. Olá, vou fazer os cumprimentos em português, pode ser?
Sim, pode.
Sim. Estás em Portugal há quanto tempo?
Já vai fazer quase 7 anos. Só que, infelizmente, o sotaque não muda. O vocabulário está aumentando todos os dias, mas o sotaque fica assim, então por 40 minutos é uma punição por qualquer pessoa a estudar. Acho que é melhor.
Okay, so we are going to talk in English. I think it's the best. I really like your accent, so I think we could continue. But okay, I'm going to start to speak in English.
I think it's a bit more fair for the person listening. I think unfortunately Portuguese people have good English accents, and like French people have terrible accents when it comes to speaking other languages. It's like you speak French, but with other people's words, so it's it's kind of hard to understand sometimes.
No, but your accent is romantic. Everybody likes it. Okay, so why are you here in Portugal? Just to beginning.
Why am I here to Portugal? I mean, I'm guessing I'll give you the honest answer. Like they gave me
always honest.
Always
please.
honest. Yeah. Well, the first one's to give me a job. So I had not the most productive PhDs by most metrics, and then I went back home. I was applying for jobs and so on, and applying, getting no answers, no feedbacks, and then I met my ex-boss, I guess, in a conference.
Okay.
And then this is from where like we vibed and so on, and then sent him my CV and said, oh, we got this position that is in conjunction with France, so this would be quite good on the same thematic. So if you want to come. I was supposed to stay 2 years. I'm still here after 7, so I think
it was a good idea.
Yeah, it was a good idea. I like it, so I can't complain. It was a nice twist of fate. Actually, we met in Malaysia. So
Malaysia?
Yeah. I only been to one conference in my life before this. Like it was, like they give you this money to go to one conference as part of your grant. Didn't do anything for 4 years. I was like, boom, now I'm going to pay for a trip. I went to the conference one day, and then I was planning on traveling. On this one day, I met...
oh my God, it was really productive.
Yeah. I mean, the stars were aligned. So, I mean, from all this to come back to Portugal, this is a bit of it's a big of jump. But it was...
Yes, it was.
Lucky coincidence.
Yeah, because you were in England, right, doing your PhD?
I was, yes, in London.
It was really different from here?
Yeah, much more, I guess. It's... There's a cultural aspect. It's also different ways that universities are run, different ways groups are managed. There's differences, good and bad, but it's a slight, I would say, but there are some notable differences, yeah, of course.
Okay, you are politically correct. You don't have to choose sides, right?
No, I think there's aspects that I like there, but it's harder to find here. I mean, they benefited from, I would say, significantly larger budgets. So, for example, some things on the academic sides were easier to do. You have maybe slightly more advanced techniques and this kind of stuff that are at your disposal. But because everyone's got more money, like I think there's also a bit more of a competition aspect. There's not so much of a collaboration, because if you want to do things alone, you have enough cash, and if you're good enough to kind of warrant this kind of independence. And nowadays, I think since it's every day more collaborative, the fact of sharing equipments and stuff here, maybe like you have in CICECO, I think it's like a nice way, because it kind of forces you by default to meet other people and so on. So there's like this cool aspect, and I prefer to work in teams rather than in small groups. So I like this aspect personally, for example.
Okay, thank you very much. And okay, now we know that you are a researcher, but how this thing happened? How you became a researcher?
Oof.
It's a long story.
No. It's a very disappointing story for people that want to get inspired. I think it's one of these things. It's like Like I left school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I was always kind of good in math and I like chemistry. So I started chemical engineering and then didn't like chemical engineering because it's where I did it was very focused on oil and gas. So I went to environmental engineering because I thought this reflected better what I wanted to do in the future.
Oh, you have that part too. You want to have a better world, right?
Hey, I think you have to have some kind of ambitions. I mean, if you're young and blasé, it's a terrible time. You've got all your life to be blasé afterwards, right? So if you're young, you have to have some kind of ambition to provide something better. This obviously gets eroded with age and so on. So by the time you're old, you get bitter and like resentful and stuff like this. But at least when you're young, you should have ambitions. And
you went to environmental engineering, right?
Yeah.
And after that?
But after that, it was 2011. I don't know if you remember, there was like an economic crisis. Terrible time to find a job. So
Yes.
I decided to, and then I got this PhD offer. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm not finding anything job-wise, so I might as well take this. And then by the time I finish, I'll have more qualifications and so on. But actually, I was supposed to be looking at like ceramics or some kind of crap. And we decided to... we gave us these fluorescent light bulbs, yeah, with neon lights and stuff like this. And the idea was to use the silica in this to make some kind of high-impact ceramics. But then very quickly we realized that the most valuable part was the powder inside the lamps, which contains a lot of metals. And then from there onwards, the movement, the idea, the focus shifted from recycling the glass to recycling the powder. So I wasn't even supposed to be working with metals to start with. And all this was like a snowball effect. And
you are here.
But now I'm here, yeah. So it's like a series of happy mistakes or consequences, I guess.
And it's interesting because you won a European Research Council. And
yeah, but I already got the money now. They can't take it after hearing this.
yeah. And it's interesting because you were talking about, a snowball effect, and now you have 1,049,000.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't have it personally. I mean,
you have to just
but I have to clarify this. I don't have it personally, but I have to manage it.
So how do you deal with all of this? I don't know what the name I can call, but with this event in your life, I think you can share with us the vision you have about this award, this really, really important award, and what you are going to do in the future with all this money.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I learned about it, I think it was right before Christmas as well. So I felt like, Christmas comes early, like it's an overwhelming sense of emotions. I mean, obviously feel super happy. It's the coronation of many years of work. But I'd like to clarify that although, you get the award is singular, it's for a person, but there's always a big team behind. And sometimes this feels like this is a bit of a neglected aspect.
I'm doing that because I wanted that you say exactly that part, because you are working in a team, right?
Yeah, of course. But it's like the Nobel Prize, like obviously the guys, they did a good job and someone has to have the idea and so on, but an idea without actually proving it and all the things that go with it, all the challenges you have to resolve to get to this point. Usually does not necessarily get appreciated so much because people want to think of a lonely scientist, genius like Einstein, just writing stuff in his notebook and so on. But nowadays it's maybe a bit of a simplification. So not to say there's not some brilliant people, but most people are smart, but hardworking and good team managers. And you have to create this kind of ecosystem. So I'd like to thank everyone that contributed, since I have a mic in front of my face and it doesn't happen every day.
Yeah. So are you working with a lot of people or not with this?
I mean, the idea is to work every day with more and more, because the more people get interested in this kind of stuff, the more real world impact we can have. So at the moment, I'm working with obviously the team to which I belong as part of CICECO. Now I'm in the process of, with this, hiring people and forming them and so on. And obviously external collaborators, which are super important because it always gives you, because I think it's nice. It's like, when you see a kid and you see them once a year, like you see them changes more than people that are with them all the time. So they give you like these more like big picture comments, which are quite nice and so on. So it's all part of a group effort, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, and so what are you doing right now? Just are you a scientist or are you a manager or something like that?
I mean, right now, I'm more of a I'm getting handled on getting used to all the bureaucracy stuff. So I would say now I'm kind of this 18 like a little mix of human resources with management stuff, but it's all to get started and to get going, and hopefully then I can go back a bit more into the science. So you have the ideas. It's a bit frustration because you get all the money, you have the ideas, but you have no time to do any of it. So it's like, so you say when you're young, you have time but no money, and when you're old, you have money but no time. And now I'm like this weird limbo with I have money and no time, but then so it's
you have the ideas. And,
yeah, exactly. So you have all the ideas, but you don't have the actual time to put it into place yet. But yeah, I'm hoping it'll be like a snowball effect. Once it starts rolling, then
rolling.
Exact.
And that's it. Okay. And just a curiosity, do you think you can improve the world, or you just forget that idea that you have?
Well, I mean, depends what you mean by improve the world. I think everyone can improve the world in their own way. Like, when I think what you mean is, do you have a big impact? Because you can improve the world with many micro actions. I mean, some of the most large-scale phenomena that started as like micro stuff, like micro loaning and stuff like this, that now had revolutionized a lot of developing countries because it gave money to people that didn't have, all these kind of things. So I think cumulatively, micro actions can have big effects, but I think you're saying, like, can I have a huge, measurable, like large-scale impact? Like you would hope so, given that I think metal extraction, refining, all this accounts for a significant part of world emissions. Actually, I think it's depending on what you look, it's like 5 to 10% of world emissions come from direct or indirect metal extraction and refining. So obviously, there's some big changes to be made and a lot of things to be improved. Whether or not I can do it, let's see. But the ambition is there, obviously. Otherwise, I don't think I would be doing this. I think there's also a bit of, you want to make it fairer, because it's in a system at the moment that is not fair. Like, we consume, but we don't make. So, I mean, we say, our emissions and pollutions have decreased X amount of times, and yet our consumption is going up. Like, something doesn't add up, right?
Yes.
It's because we've exported it somewhere else. So they're getting more problematic aspects of this, and we say we can wash our hands. So I think there's something that needs to be done and that needs to be readdressed. And I think at least if we have this high moral ground like we do in Europe, we should be able to demonstrate it. Like, otherwise it's just hypocritical. Okay.
You said something really interesting about chemistry, that you choose chemistry. At the beginning, you didn't know what did you want and something like that. But now you thought that chemistry was like the solution and the problem at the same time, right?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess it's...
or not,
No, it is in a lot of ways, is that we have developed, I mean, a great part of the global development that has happened in the last 60 years has been to a mass marketing of goods, so that goods have become cheaper and more readily accessible, so that everyone can improve their living standards for a cheaper cost. The issue being that then if you take this and push it to the capitalist extreme, you end up having overconsumption, fast retail, and all these things that then become very problematic. Not only this, but you have, if not properly treated, the residues of all this manufacturing. I mean, I work in electronics, but you have to look at textiles, like stuff like fast fashion, Temu, and all these things. Textiles are one of the most polluting industry in the world, and you have these huge repercussions behind it. So as much as chemistry is able to advance and make our lives more comfortable and all these things and improve the standards of living, which we all benefit today, sometimes it's out of sight, out of mind. So you don't see the repercussions because we've purposefully exported most of these repercussions to other countries. And you have to be aware of this. And this is what you have to aim to treat through better processes, more sustainable stuff, and maybe bringing some of these processes back home so that people have a greater consciousness and you pay the real cost of things so that you actually able to measurably dictate the entire process, the supply chain.
Yeah, because now we are living a green speech everywhere, right? Everybody talks about green things.
Green it's like this greenwashing. Like it's trendy, right? So if you don't speak about it, you feel like you're a person from a time past.
Yeah, and about your experience, what do you think about that? Do you think it's greenwashing everywhere?
I'm not going to cast the stone because I do it as well.
I'm
like,
doing here too.
Like everyone does it, you know, like you think that every time you write an application or whatever, like, oh, this will be so green and so amazing.
Yeah.
And you do believe it to some extent, but you know you're overselling, right? Like, you know, it is not going to be as good as green as you think, because there's always things always have consequences, right? So even if you believe with best of intention that this could be measurably better, usually it's because you're looking at a very specific part of a process or something, and then when you extrapolate, like this part might be better, but then the separation might be much more challenging, and you don't take this into account. So it's part of a message, and it'll be hypocritical for me to say that it's not like a selling point and so on, but yeah, you have to be realistic as well sometimes.
So I have a question for you about that. Your project and everything about your award is green or not?
But the idea is to be green. Now, whether or not this is one of the things that we have to prove. But the idea is to make the separation more efficient so that you have less amount of steps to do it in. Now, the real question is the solvents I'm proposing for this, are they actually throughout their whole life cycle better than what we currently have? So this is what we need to evaluate as we do. But on the process, again, if you look at this very small picture, it should be greener. Now, if you enlarge it, this is something that we have to assess and that we aim to assess to hopefully give a better solution. So.
Okay. And do you have how many years do you have to do this amazing project?
So now I start in March, so I have 5 years from this. So I'm like 4 years and a half now, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah, time goes quick.
Yes,
I know.
it was.
Sorry, sweat just a minute.
Okay. And what do you think about the the critical spirit in people about science? You said too that physics was the subject of century 20th century, and the chemistry was the subject of the 21st century.
Yeah.
And why did you say that?
I think it's when you look at most of I think in my opinion at least, a lot of the great advancements of the early 20th century were revolving around quantum physics, the discovery and the utilization of X-rays, nuclear power, all these things which tend to be more associated with physics, although they have crossovers because everything is this delimitation of fields seems sometimes a bit arbitrary because it depends a lot of the application. But since a lot of these were focused on more fundamental understanding of how the world works, how an atom is constructed, all these things, I would have assigned it more to physics. And then since when we got essentially unlimited oil and we started making plastics, I think then from there onwards, it's shifted to being more of a chemistry issue because it started being more about the goods you can make and how these new materials that were being produced can help for a whole range of applications. So in that second half, I would say from like 40s, 50s onwards, I would say it's more of a chemistry era than before.
And what do you think about the critical spirit in people about science? What do you think people think what about science?
Well, I mean, it's
a general
it's a tough
question.
one. I think I can only give you my opinion. I don't think it's necessarily.
No, it's your opinion,
Yeah.
just like a scientist and someone who didn't dream about being a European Research Council researcher.
I think very few people dream of it when they're kids. I don't think I don't know if it's a very common dream. Maybe like an astronaut or something, but I don't think this is it.
What are the expectations in people about science? In your family, for example,
my family don't know what I do. If I ask them, they say I do science. So
they don't know the important. I don't know how important is to receive a European Research Council in your family. It's like
no,
he's crazy. He's doing his research. He's science, and that's it.
No, but it's a question of. It's like everyone's obviously very happy and so on, but I'll be honest, I think most scientists, and myself included, as you can see from all this rambling, are bad communicators, right? So we're very bad.
No, you are a good communicator.
No, but we're very bad at maybe reducing our topic to something that is very relatable or extractable so everyone knows what you're doing, right? So without being super vulgar in the simplification, but to explain it in a way that motivates people and interests them. I think we're not great as a consortium of people to do this. So probably this comes from, so then all these problems stem from this, right? So if you're not able to explain to your grandma what you do, it's quite hard then to do it. I think it's always the test, no? It's like you should be able to tell your grandma what you're doing and she should be able to understand. And this is how you know that you really know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my grandma doesn't know what I'm doing.
No, she don't know. No, now she knows that it's an important thing, right? Because we are talking about money. So I think when people see a lot of money, can understand that it's an important thing. Or people tell you, okay, what are you going to do with the 1 million and something in your science? Why do you need so much money to do something?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, things are expensive. I think that's something I discovered once you start like having a budget management. Things are expensive, so it allows you, this money allows you to dream bigger in terms of equipment and setups that you can have, so that you are not limited by costs. I think this is the main thing, at least in the initial stage that I'm seeing now, and to get the people to actually do the work. Because again, to employ people and to pay them and so on, like this is a big part. So actually very quickly, I'll be honest, without being extravagant or anything, like it just kind of just melts away. It's like just catching sand, you know. So.
And money is freedom, right? You need freedom to do research and science.
Exactly.
And sometimes you don't have it.
Sometimes you don't have it. I mean, no one lives in a bubble. So you have pressures from colleagues, so on. So I'm guessing that, yeah, this gives you a bit more freedom, obviously. But again, you don't start your own lab in a bubble, so you have to still be within the current context of where you work, and so far so good.
Okay, and I need to ask, how old are you?
How old am I? I will be 34 in 3 weeks.
Oh my God, yeah. It's, do you know someone else that won a European Research Council or something like that in your age, or?
In my age? But I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's someone that already had one in CICECO, Mara Freya.
Mara Freya, yeah.
I mean, it's already rude. I've never asked her how old she is, but...
Yeah, I was rude to ask
No,
that.
it's not this. Like, but I mean, I'm guessing she had it like 10 years ago, maybe, when she got it. So I'm guessing she wasn't too far off from
your age.
I mean, it's 7 years after the PhD, so you can't be eternal. Like,
okay.
Yeah. There's an age cutoff. So anyone that has it has to be within a certain age, more or less.
Okay. And now, are you continue to be happy to work in science? You are more pragmatic, or are you an idealist? You continue to be an idealist?
No, idealist. Otherwise, it gets a bit boring, right? Like, I think idealist is there, but you start realizing traits that you didn't think you had. Like, for example, now that you manage money, I never had money. So now that you have money, you're like, I'm a bit stingy. Like, I never thought I would be like counting pennies and stuff, but now you're like, it's a bit too expensive. It's not something cheaper.
Okay.
But no, idealist, avoid, obviously.
Okay. And if you want to, if you have to say something to people about the magic of science, about the magic of asking why, what do you tell?
The magic of asking why. I mean, you have to be careful what you wish for, because sometimes you'll get an answer that doesn't really suit you, but you have to keep the open mind of, trying to understand it and make sure that whatever you hear is true. I think it's a beautiful thing, asking why, because otherwise it's just robots, you know, like do, like tell, do. Asking why is what makes us human, no? So, and what's this curiosity is what eventually is going to save us. So I think it's this why thing. It's great. Like, why should you settle, right? Why can you not have things for better?
Because when you do an application like that to have a project, you don't have to write the results and in the end of the project say, okay, I have this answer, this answer, this answer, this answer. If you just, okay, you have money and you want to ask why, you have space to do that or not. You have to just, you know,
I think the why...
If something new appears in your research that you don't and you didn't know at the beginning, you have freedom to change things or not.
It's a good question. I'll be honest, I haven't had anything that has forced
I'm sorry.
me. No, but it's a good question. I actually don't know.
Because you are here, and it's thank you very much for you
No, of
for
course, of
accepting
course.
this invitation, and I'm curious about that.
No, it's a great question. I haven't thought about it. I mean, the why, most of the why justification comes as to why you're doing and why you're proposing this pathway to this solution, right? So this is more where the why comes in during the application stage. Now, whether you find something that is more promising than what you expected.
Yes, something like that. You have freedom to change things?
Yeah, I think so. I cannot imagine that they would say, for bureaucratic reasons, no, continue what you're doing, even though you find a better thing. It doesn't really make sense. So I'm guessing the why would be tolerated, yeah.
Okay. So we are talking about snowball and about, I think you are a go with the flow guy. I can say that.
Yeah, probably, yeah. So that's a fair amount, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you manage your time to go with the flow guy and European researcher?
Terribly. I think like terribly, because I'm not, like you said, I need to work on my organization, that's for sure. So the consequence at the moment is I feel like I'm running around like a headless chicken. So you feel like, you're putting out fires here, there, and that things are always being done last minute. So
but it works, right?
Yeah, so far so good. But I feel my stress levels are super high. I don't know if I can do this for like 4.5 years more. So now obviously you have to kind of start managing your time a bit better, but it's because at least because the jump was quite big. So before you're doing research, right? So your tasks are more or less well known. You have a fair amount of freedom in your timetable because it's a much more objective base, right? So if you decide to work like 3 days like a brute and take 2 days a bit more chill, no one's going to bother you, right? But now that you have people depending on you, this kind of same mentality does not really apply because it's not fair to them. Like you cannot let people be in silence for 2 days while they're waiting for your answer and so on. So it takes a bit more readjustment.
Yeah, because we shared a lot of ideas in the end of the year, and I think you were a little bit, I don't know, less stressed that you are now. Just
yeah, I'll be honest. Like I said, it's an early interview, so I took like 3 coffees as well before getting here, so I'm highly caffeinated. So this is more maybe half caffeine, half nerves.
And do you have some suggestions or something like that to your PhD students for your team, just how to manage time during the day? Don't do the same thing that you do or do it because it results, of course. Yeah. But you need to separate your personal life, your private life, the research life, or everything is together, and you are always thinking about the things you have to do in university.
No, I think so. First thing is like a lot of people do a PhD, but they not necessarily have an aspiration to be a career scientist, right? So
okay.
So I think in this sense, some people, they dedicate their life to science in the same way that artists dedicate their life to art, or musicians, so on. So I think sometimes people, like scientists, get seen badly when they do these things, but artists and so on get venerated. So if it works for you, it's all good, but you cannot put these expectations on other people, right? If you decide to choose this life, you realize that it's a personal choice. So if you want to do the 9 to 5, go for it. I think, like I said, at the end of the day, a PhD, as much as you want the results for the group, it's a personal journey to some extent. So it's for you to set the pace, right? So you cannot be too on top of it in that sense. You can help, you can motivate, you can try to stimulate. Hey, it's a long-term relationship, right? It's a 4-year thing. So
yes.
So you have to find a common ground, but you cannot put your expectations on how you work on other people. Everyone's got their own.
So that there is freedom in your lab.
Well, my lab is very limited at the moment, so there's a lot of freedom. Yeah.
You have a lab, right?
It's under construction, yes.
We can say that.
Yeah, it's there. I don't actually know the room number. I should be able, but if anyone's in building 29, it's on the 3rd floor. So yes, it is there.
What do you feel about that? A guy who, okay, I don't know what to do. I think I don't have a job. Now I have application for a PhD, and now you have a lab. So.
Yeah, no, it's, I'll be honest, I don't tend to look back too much. I'm not great at...
It's good. It's good. Don't look back.
At retrospecting and stuff, because like the what ifs are not super helpful. But yeah, it's true. It's a nice... I can only be so thankful to everyone that's contributed throughout.
It's like a child. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So right now, what do you think about? I'm thinking about science and everything. Did you think in the past that you would be able to do all of this, or not?
Do you know what? At least, I don't know, again,
You don't think about best.
no, it's not this. It's you never know what you are gonna do until you're forced to do it. A lot of times, so a lot of these things that are coming up, it's through opportunities, people giving you, like referring you or giving you some kind of responsibilities, and at this moment you realize that you can do it, and this is something that you enjoy, and so on. So I think a lot of these evolution have been through kind of just try it, do it, and then you realize that you're able to, and so on. So I don't think that I had, for example, aspirations necessarily to even create my own lab. This was something that is, I'm very fortunate and very happy, but there's nothing that I was like aiming towards. As long as the overall lab has the same vision that I do, I never really thought of, I need to have my own. You know what I mean? So
That's
yeah,
it.
these like little things like this.
Yeah, little things. Okay. So I'm learning with you because I thought researchers that I don't know were able to be awarded with European Research Council were like, okay, I really want this. I really want this. I really, really, really want this, and it's my goal. It's my dream. It's everything about what I want. And like I go with the flow.
Yeah, no, to be honest, it was all really good timing, professionally speaking. But for example, my contract was supposed to finish at the end of this year, and I'll be honest, because it's getting old, like it's hard and harder to reinvent yourself, and for other people to accept you entering new industries. Like before I had gotten it, I had this reflection of whether or not this was going to be a lifelong career for me. I really like it because you have this freedom, this intellectual freedom to pursue topics that you think are important, and I'm very thankful that I'm still here. But sometimes,
Yeah, and instability is you have instability in the research career, right?
Yeah. And research is not the only way to make an impact. There are many companies that are able to contribute to some extent. So
it's good to say that, because sometimes we have that idea that industry are not so good and are the villains, right?
No, but this is nonsense. I mean, like I said, I think it comes from these kind of cliches about big industries pollute and all these things. But realistically, if you want to make some big changes, it's much easier to do by providing like new products that companies will use than whatever research we might be doing in the lab. So as much as they can cause a problem, they can help to at least alleviate. I mean, it's a self-made problem, so they're kind of auto-rectifying, but it can still be done, right?
So you are a researcher, but you are a person too, right?
Sometimes, supposedly, yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. What do you do after school?
After school, wow. No, I'll be honest, like it's gonna be a boring answer. I think it's gonna be, but like anyone, like I like to see friends, hang out, have a drink, go play terrible football, stuff like this. Go to beach, play music.
You are French. You are French, right?
Correct. Yeah.
You should be good in soccer.
I've delegated to others. No. I let Mbappé be good. I'll do something else. It'll be easier. Yeah.
Okay. Nicolas, for you, something with science is what?
Something with science?
Yeah. It's a question that we do every time we
it's like your trademark.
record. It's like that.
So something with science. What do you mean by something with science?
I don't know. It's like your interpretation.
Something with science. It's the fulfillment of curiosity.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right? Something with science is something that's maybe unexpected, but at least fun, and it should be fun to conceive, to do, and so on. I think this is the purpose.
And do you need a method? And do you need answers? And you need certainty? And you need that all of kind of thing? Or no, just asking something?
It's if you want to do it well, and that other people can share in this fun. Because otherwise, if you can go to the lab and start mixing and so on, but if you want,
because you can do everything, and it's science.
I mean, it's science. I mean, it's like everything's on the spectrum, right? It's not good science, but it's science. So, but as long as you're able to nourish this curiosity, I think then the methodology and the rigorousness comes after, because this is the way that you're able to share your results and your fun with other people.
Okay. I like the answer. And do you have some questions that you don't have the answer already?
Oof. How long do you have? I think we only have 5 minutes left. It's a lot of questions, of course.
If you can apply for a new research European Council, and you can choose anything, what would be the questions you would like to answer in your life?
Oh, in my life. Oh.
But it's good because you're not talking about science in your head, right? You're not thinking about recycling things, and there are more important things.
No, I think one of the questions, but it's kind of scientific, but it's outside my area, is again this to do with recycling. It's advanced sorting. So most of what we do when I get to this point, entropy is already won, which means that it's been dissipated, but it's due to human effects, right? So how do you change, the same way that how do you change communications aspects of science and so on, is how do you change human behavior to be conscious? Because some countries have it and others don't. How do you sort different glasses, even in different colors, which is common in some countries and not? How do you distinguish different types of plastic? Because then if you do this, the rest of the job is, I'm not going to say trivial, but much, much easier, right? So sorting is key, and it's something that is being completely undervalued as part of the recycling chain. And so I think this is the best thing, is how to change human behavior to reflect what you what you would like to have. Essentially what I'm not saying about.
Okay, I can think.
No, it's how do you change human behavior to facilitate changes, technical changes, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, because you can make the best product, but it's not you that's going to be using it, it's someone else. And you never know how it's going to be done. So how do you balance human intelligence and human stupidity to the right level so that you're able to find solutions that accommodate everyone and that they are maybe cross-cultural and transnational, which is quite hard.
Okay. You already have a new idea for the next project.
Oof, yeah. I don't like humans too much. Too much variability is not for me, so it's not.
You like to go straight to the point, and that's
but I put my lanthanides, it'll be like this tomorrow, and the day after. Humans are too
complex.
We do this same interview tomorrow, and I have different answers, so it's not good.
Okay. So thank you very much, Nicolas, for this interview.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to talk with you. So I think we're going to change for Portuguese again. Bem, Nicolas, muito obrigada por esta conversa.
Não, obrigado eu. Foi prazer.
Espero que tenham gostado. Acompanhem-nos nas plataformas de podcast, no canal YouTube e nas redes sociais. Até ao próximo episódio.